guys, it's Christina from Redefine Creative, and I am back with another layout using my July Kill a Kit with Style. And so you can see I have pulled out on my desk a bunch of things that I am thinking I want to use. So as you know, if you watched my kit share, I pulled a ton of different pieces of different Maggie Holmes collections to make one big July kit. And so in order to kind of give myself some direction for where my layout was going to go, I have pulled out just a few of the papers and a few things from this particular big kit that I created for the month of July. And so you can see I am layering up pattern papers, and these are from a bunch of different collections. So those two that I'm using in the 6x8 size are from the carousel paper pad that was in this particular kit. And then there's two black and whites as well as the background paper that are from different Maggie Holmes collections as well. And so what I am doing is kind of creating a little shelf here for my photo to sit on. So I have added the black and white to the vertical left side of my photo. And then I'm putting a few strips underneath my photo as well. And I knew I wanted those green watercolor hearts to go all the way across the page in the green section of this particular pattern paper. So I am going to go ahead and stretch that across the layout itself. And then I'm going to go ahead and tuck in the pink, and then the white with the black stars on it are going to kind of be the two topmost layers. And I'm going to end up taking that top one and actually cutting it here into a banner so that it has a little bit of a fancier end to it, rather than just being a rectangle like the rest of the pieces. And so then I'm going to take this white frame with the gold glitter detail and I'm put a little piece of it in that top left-hand corner, just to kind of make my black and white photo stand out from the black and white pattern paper. And then I'm just going to grab a piece of black ribbon and I'm going to put it along that bottommost part of those green hearts. And I just ran it through my Xyron to make sure it's nice and sticky. And you did see me tie a knot in it. And the reason I have tied a knot in it is because I am wanting to put one of those big Maggie Holmes bows in that spot. And I wanted the ribbon to kind of dip in a little bit where the bow was going to be. So I just put a knot in it so that it would look like the black and white bow that's going to go on top of it was actually tied to it rather than just stuck on the layout. And that's going to go in that particular corner. And so then I'm just going to start kind of playing with where I want embellishments to go. And so when I started, I very much wanted my embellishment cluster to be right above the bow. And what I was planning on doing was running embellishments kind of along that vertical line only, and keeping all of my embellishments on that side of the layout. And then as I am going, I am deciding that I want something in the bottom right of the photo is kind of where my thinking is. And so you see me start to try different things there, and I don't like the balance. So what that made me decide to do was to move that cluster that I was going to put by the bow up to the top left. And it's not my first choice. I don't like it as well in that spot, but when I'm looking at the balance of the entire layout, it fits much better and creates a much more balanced layout if I put it up in that corner. So I'm going to go with it and build a cluster up there, and I end up liking it in the end, but it is definitely not where I kind of intended for that embellishment cluster to go. But I needed to have my two embellishment clusters kind of on a diagonal with my daughter in the photo in the middle in order to create that good visual triangle, because the bow is heavy enough to pull your eye down to that corner all by itself. And so hopefully that makes sense. That was kind of a long explanation of why the cluster is where it is. Now I'm going to go ahead and tape my red line tape, and I'm going to put a row of that red line tape right underneath the ribbon. And I'm going to grab my Tropical Breeze sequin mix from SpiegelMom Scraps, and I'm going to use kind of the corally, like coral melon color that matches the pinks in the top half of the layout. And I'm going to create a horizontal row of sequins that goes right underneath my clusters. It's going to do a couple of things for me. It adds some texture and interest to the bottom half of the layout, and it also pulls the pinks down to that half of the layout. And then what you'll notice over on the left, also off screen, is I added a vertical column of the green sequins. So it pulls the green sequins up to the top of the layout, and so does that little magical ticket that I have cut out on the top corner in my embellishment cluster. So I'm finding little ways to pull the colors across the layout, depending on where they are on that colorful background. So I am thinking that I'm going to use the title Magical Beautiful You, and I keep trying to use these Felicity Jane Alphas because they are the ones that I have in my kit, and I'm thinking I'm going to skip the I and make it into this little sparkler, and it's going to be so adorable. But the font on that particular alphabet is just, it was way too big, and it was just driving me crazy. So I had to go back to my stash and grab a puffy black alpha that has a little bit of kind of detail to it, so it's not exactly a block style font. It has a little bit of curl and whimsy to it. And so the title is going to end up saying Magical Beautiful You. And on camera, it's kind of hard to see because of the black ribbon. But in real life, you can definitely read the word magical without a problem. It just does not film very well. So I've layered up that alpha with that big chipboard word, beautiful, and then my alphabet from Felicity Jane that I've had in this particular kit for the word you. And then I'm just going to go ahead and sprinkle some additional sequins in each of kind of my embellishment cluster areas. So I'm going to have one up there in the top left of my photo, one in the bottom right of my photo, and then I'm going to put the third one down by that word you because there was some blank space in like below beautiful before the word you. And I am going to use basically the Tropical Breeze collection, which is what I use throughout the rest of the layout, but I am going to grab from Sparkle Ever After, which is another gorgeous sequin mix, a few black sequins, so that I can tie in the black and white photo and the black and white elements to each of those clusters as well. And that's basically going to do it for this layout. So definitely a suggestion to use those sequins to kind of pull color from different areas of your layout. And then to also look at your big chipboard words and see if you can mix and match them with other fonts to make a unique title. And so do make sure you stop and check out SpiegelMom Scraps. I use Tropical Breeze and Sparkle Ever After, and you can definitely use the code below to get a fun discount in the shop. And I'll see you soon. Bye!